testament to the blessing and the catalyst that technology is in her life. I would like to call upon Ruth Nibitanga from Burundi. She is an inspirational speaker, participant from the ITU AIF project, and under Take as a driver of women's economic opportunity, and to share her story on why and how technology has impacted her life. A round of applause for Ruth.
Thank you. Thank you. Girls and women in ICT, digital skills matter, gender equality matters. Welcome to you, all of you here. Mrs. Doreen Bogdan Martin, Secretary General of ITU, Dr. Cosmas Zavazava, BDT Director of ITU, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, girls in ICT family, I'm delighted to celebrate International Women's Day and join your call for gender inclusive innovation, digital education, and technologies. Being here with you today is a dream coming true. My name is Ruth Nibitanga, a young woman all the way from Burundi, working day by day for an equal world. On behalf of my delegation and on my own behalf, I do sincerely thank the ITU, EIF, and ECORE program for the long journey that we have shared so far. It has been a very long journey, starting December 2020, when for the first time, ECORE invited me in a workshop named Take as a Driver of Women's Economic Opportunity. I am among the 90% of girls and women that participated on the workshop that agreed that attending the workshop had improved our understanding on how digital technologies and ICT can increase our competitiveness. Taking account of my background, I'm not an ICT as background. I studied economic studies. My career was tried with a lot of limitation in terms of finding jobs, even as a university graduate. That thing changed when I acknowledged the many opportunities I could get when embracing a digital world as a digital skilled woman. From that ECORE's December 2020 workshop, allow me to share with you all my journey as a beneficiary of IIF ITU project in my country, Burundi. The project allowed me to attend workshops on e-commerce, digital skills, digital marketing, and also boot camps among more than 250 young women and women entrepreneurs, not only in the capital city, Bujumbura, but also in remote areas, rural areas. It increased my self-confidence as a tech reader and gained more skills to be able to use digital skills, digital technology at my advantages and benefit from the opportunity they offered me. And yet, digital skills gave me a lot of opportunity. As part, I was named by UNDP Burundi. I was chosen by UNDP Burundi to be a part of a mentorship program for youth innovators, and even my employer has promoted me. And yes, I work at LIPA, that is the first payment gateway in Burundi. I'm the only woman in the board. I would like also to thank ITU and ECORE's program because they also sponsored my trip to the first and ever Generation Connect Summit at Kigali and Rwanda. That allowed me to have a great network. Let us allow girls and women to thrive fully and safely in the digital economy. I want my young sister right there to grow up in a world where they can dream of being whoever they want to be. Digital skills is not a dream, it is a reality. Therefore, make it affordable and accessible for them. This is my call to the world today. I truly believe that digital has a critical role for empowering girls and women, not only in Burundi, but all over the world. Let's please achieve gender equality and unlock the vast potential of women in innovation. I cannot imagine a better investment that has been done, what ECOS and ITU have been doing for me. It was a light that changed my mind, my career, and my destiny. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Ruth. Like she rightfully said, I think there's a misconception when people talk about careers in ICT. And as we've learned from Ruth's story, you don't have to start that journey. There's so many different ways in which you can contribute to your communities from ICT and through ICT. I would now like to call upon to give his welcoming remarks. That is Dr. Cosmas Lakison Zawazawa, ITU BDT Director. A round of applause for Dr. Zawazawa.
So thank you. I think it's afternoon now, so good afternoon. I want to congratulate Ruth, 17 to 24, that we term digital natives are more online than us. So congratulations. We wish you all the best. I have the honor of co-moderating this session today. And I am so thrilled on this occasion because it's a special day. I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have 3 sisters. I was born of a mother, so I respect gender very much. It touches my heart. And when I look at you, I see a very bright future, but also keep talking to the boys so that they too are not left behind. So Thelma, thank you very much. She has left. And welcome again everyone to this session. Since I took office as the director of the Telecommunication Development Bureau, the issue of gender and girls in ICT has always been at the center of everything that I've been doing. And I hope that we can grow this dream. I'm pleased that I'm here also with our Secretary General, who is the gender champion, Doreen Bogdan Martin. And she has always been fighting the battle to make sure that the world is balanced. And I may say that Africa, we are lagging behind. There are other regions that are doing better, but I know that very soon we'll be catching up. So, in March this year, I launched the mainstreaming gender in digital policy, providing guidance on how to put in place concrete actions and offering insights to help policymakers understand how to best influence policy, making processes, and advocate for gender equality. Digital policies that mainstream gender will create a conducive ecosystem to everyone's benefit. However, policies and just policies are not enough. For policies to be effective, we need to understand community needs and perspectives. Everyone is to be part of this process. Programs and projects such as Girls in ICTs can inspire girls and nurture them for a better future. We need to invest in girls to awaken their interest in STEM careers and to cultivate all this into a better future for the girls. Furthermore, we need men to create equal opportunities for girls and women and to grow and develop. In particular, we need to show them that they have their place in fields traditionally seen as male-dominated. We need to show them that it is time to break down gender stereotype and norms. ITU is the oldest United Nations organization established in 1865. Up until 2022, we managed to have the first Secretary General. So you too, you can make it. We have what we call the Network of Women Digital Ministers, which is a product of a joint collaboration between ITU and the GIZ BMZ. And we thank our partner GIZ for standing with us and sharing the vision that we have. Our partnership crucially brings together high-ranking female and male political leaders, as we have here today, for digital affairs to allow practical insights and recommendations for the way forward. We will look to policy development, implementation, as well as collaborative, complementary, and continued engagement between the network and Smart Africa. We will soon be talking about smart girls, because that's who you are. And ladies and gentlemen, with this in mind and without further ado, let me introduce our Secretary General, Doreen Bogdan Martin, ITU Secretary General. If you can join me to welcome her to take the floor for her opening remarks.
Thank you, Director Zava. Good morning, bonjour, bon dia. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, girls, good morning. It's terrific to see so many young women here with us today for this important celebration. I want to maybe start by thanking the CEO of Smart Africa, Lucina. He and I were together, I think it was in London, a few months ago, and we were talking about this session of Transform. And when he mentioned the dates, the two of us thought, oh my goodness, it's Girls in ICT Day. And knowing how important the issue of girls is to Smart Africa and the incredible work they do around Geek Girls, we thought that it would be wonderful to bring the global celebration here to Victoria Falls during Transform. So thank you so much, Lucina, for ensuring that, that we could bring this event to fore today. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're all here because we know that change needs to be visible, and that having more women leaders in tech and digital policy and also governance will enable better decision-making, and it will help to drive change across the digital sector. Of course, it's not just about having women at the table. That's nice, but we need women to actively participate in key decisions and policy-making processes. It's also about women making the way for future women leaders. This is something that we're often criticized as not doing enough of. And of course that means if you're a woman, you've made it to the top, you've climbed that ladder, the struggle was probably difficult. Make sure you leave that ladder for the next generation of women leaders to come, and make sure you enable and help young women to actually climb that ladder. This year marks, I stress marks, I'm not going to say celebrate, but this year marks 25 years since the ITU passed its first resolution linked to gender. That was back in 1998 at the World Telecommunications Development Conference at the time. And the resolution that was adopted recognized the importance of full participation by women in policy and decision making. Well, guess what? 25 years later, that we didn't make enough progress, of course, and that almost exact wording found its place in the recent outcome of the Commission on the Status of Women that concluded just some weeks ago in New York. And so why is it that 25 years later, we have to use the same language that we brought forward 25 years ago? What's wrong? That's what I would ask you, why? It's because we haven't made enough progress. We still have a digital gender gap when it comes to access to digital technologies and services. We still have a skills gap, and of course that's the theme for this year's Girls in ICT Day. And of course, we have a leadership gap. We have a gap that runs through all different levels in the sector, and of course, it's most evident when it comes to leadership. And that's why in discussions with Her Excellency Minister Schulze, we thought that a network of women digital ministers could actually help us to tackle this lack of progress. And so we launched last month, on the margins of the Commission of the Status of Women, this network of women ministers. Our goal is to try to bring better balance and, of course, inclusion in our sector where women are completely underrepresented in the digital decision-making processes. If we look globally at the number of women ICT ministers, anybody want to guess what's the percentage? Raise your hand if you think it's about 50%. 40%? 30%? Okay, 30%, I'm seeing some hands. 20%? A few more hands. Okay, it's actually 16%. It's incredible, only 16% of our ICT ministers, in some cases they're called the digital ministers or ministers of innovation, only 16% are actually led by women. Why? Again, I keep asking myself, why? Is it because of bias? Is it because of perception? Is our field too technical? Is it because our field is not perceived as having a people focus? Well, I'd like to hear your thoughts today. Because by getting more women to the top will help us to create what we'd like to see, which is a sort of virtuous circle, where the examples set and the gender transformative digital policies launched by female leaders will help to impact and help to inspire the next generation. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's roundtable series gives us an incredible opportunity to share experiences, insights on policies, and the challenges to create this virtuous circle. And we welcome your thoughts on how we can shape the future role of this network for women ministers right here in this African continent. We do hope that this can be a powerful tool, changes that we want, the changes that Africa wants. And I'm so happy to see so many friends of women in the group, so many supporters in this room, and so many of our partners since way back when. And I do want to recognize in particular GIZ, because they joined us in the early days of our Equals partnership, and I thank you for believing in this cause and for staying with us. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you can count on me. As the first ITU Secretary General, I will do my utmost to ensure that we advance on this cause. I really don't want to be a tick box where we say ITU has a woman sec-gen, so we're done. So let's not talk about tick boxing, because we have a lot more to do. You can count on me, you can count on our BDT director, Dr. Zavazava, and we really look forward to working with you so that in 25 years, we're not talking about the same thing. And I hope in 2 years, we can come back and say we have made significant progress. So thank you again, and happy Girls in ICT Day. Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for applauding our Secretary General. At this point, I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to the government of Zimbabwe, to the Minister of ICT, Dr. Jenfen Muswera, for making this possible, the Minister of Education, and Dr. Machengete, Director General of Portras. The young girls that you see over there are here thanks because of the effort of government to make sure that they are here. They are sponsored by Portras, and we congratulate you. So you know it is a school holiday time in Zimbabwe right now. So all these girls took their time. They are supposed to be doing homework, but they are here to celebrate with us. So we are very much grateful for you taking the time. This would not have been possible without the ingenious work of a great dynamic visionary Director General of Smart Africa, my brother, Lasina Kone, who has tirelessly been working for the continent and making sure that no one will be left behind. I would like to invite him to share his wisdom with us at this moment. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Zavazava. Your Excellency, Ministers, Excellency Edward Kalon, UN Residence and Humanitarian Coordinator here, Your Excellency, my sister, Dr. Amani Abu Zaid, Commissioner of Infrastructure and Energy, Excellency Secretary General, my sister, Doreen Bogdan, Honorable Ministers, Honorable Minister Ursula, my sister, Minister of Communication Digitalizations of Ghana. For your information, at Smart Africa, the majority of our ICT ministers are women. And I call them my angel garden. So, Mr. Diaby Mustafa, I believe he's in the room here. Esteemed partners from the ITU, from our partners as well in Germany, Estonia, if you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I would like to welcome you all to the Transform Africa Summit 2023 and extend a special welcome to this ministerial roundtable sessions on the network of women digital ministers as part of the celebration of the ITU's 2023 Girls in ICT Day. Exactly as my sister Doreen said, we were together, I believe it was in January or February, and we decided let's do this. Smart Africa, and indeed all of us present here and across the world, join the ITU in celebrating girls and ICT, who are already today's innovators, entrepreneurs, digital transformation agents, and leaders. I refer to them as today's leader because they become so the minute they decide to. And our role is to enable and facilitate that vision. This year's theme is Digital Skills for Life, and goes to show digital technologies continue to shape and weave into our everyday life. This unfortunately means that those without digital skills will not be able to participate fully in everyday life activity. This is not a scenario we can ever be comfortable with. Hence, the need to support young people, and particularly girls and young women, with the skills and resources required to thrive in the digital economy. At Smart Africa, we have established a digital skills vehicle called the Smart Africa Digital Academy, SADA, through which we have trained more than 3,500 decisions and policymakers to date. SADA training gives the relevant technical, policy, and leadership skills through the Smart Women and Girls and ICT initiative. We empower and promote women and girls to participate in various leadership stratas. Did you know that the leading countries in the world of women legislators is in Africa? Rwanda has 61% female representative in parliament, which meets and surpassed the target set in the Beijing Declaration and Plan of Action. I am glad that today we have some of the notable African women in leadership right here in this room, more so women in digital leadership. These are eminent women and men who have made the digital gender equality their life mission, not only because it makes economic sense, no, but it's because it's the right thing to do. Research shows that companies with inclusive environments multiply their innovative capacity by 6 times. By having access to high-speed internet, girls can have 14% more chances to have a job. But a device costs around 62.8% of salaries, according to statistics, and the gig of data around 8% of income, according to certain statistics. Gender inequality in all its form is expensive. We cannot afford 2.5 trillion. It's too high a price to pay for something we can fix if we are willing to fix it. I join our distinguished guests and partners to strive for a level playing field for the girls we are celebrating today. To do this, we need to do the following: inclusive and participative policies and environment that address the gender digital divide and foster opportunities for growth for all women and girls in the digital space. 2, establishing infrastructure for affordable and meaningful connectivity and access. 3, putting our money where our mouth is, making the right investment that oil and translate our ideas into tangible and impactful actions. Number 4, being pragmatic, making deliberate effort to support girls and women empowerment and promotion in the digital space. 6, this gathering here is a perfect example where we see powerful women in one place. Powerful women in one place, sharing insight with their peers and joining hands to bring inclusive digital transformation on our continent. Again, Smart Africa join hands to inspire, encourage, empower women and girls in the digital leadership. I make an emphatic call to you, ladies and gentlemen, to join us too in the effort towards the gender digital equality. I wish the network of women and digital leaders all the success, and be assured that you have all our support at Smart Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Lasina. We look forward to continued cooperation with Smart Africa. Last but not least, it is my pleasure to introduce a video from Minister Schultz. You know, we can't do it alone. We need partners, we need political will, and we need people who dream with us and who share the vision with us. So I would like to introduce this video by Minister Schultz, who could not be here with us. If you could please show the video.
Ministers, digital experts. Around the world, women spend less time online than men. And as a result, they are in danger of missing out excluded from this connection. And it's not just about internet use. Women's perspectives are missing in digital policy too. Decisions about our digital future are mostly made by men. Only 18% of the world's digital affairs ministers are women. We are fortunate to have some of you here today. The reasons for women's digital exclusion are multiple and complex. Traditional gender roles, limited access to technology and the internet, online harassment, and the lack of female role models are just some of the contributing factors. Why is this gender-digital divide a problem? Because it isolates women at a communication level, because it denies them access to knowledge and education, and because it increases existing social disparities where equal access and digital technology could help to reduce them. I have made gender equality a policy goal, and as a logical consequence of that, I am committed to overcoming the gender-digital divide. Women need to have the same opportunities as men to shape digital technologies. Today, we are celebrating Girls in ICT Day. It shows what I mean when I talk about shaping digital technologies. I mean more access to the internet and digital skills, more women in digital professions, and above all, more women as leaders in digital policy. To achieve this, ITU Secretary General Doreen Bogdan-Martin and I founded the Network of Women Digital Ministers. The network helps to strengthen the representation, inclusion, and leadership of women in international digital policy. But I also want to bring about real change on a local level together with our partner countries. This is why the German Development Ministry has been supporting the Smart Africa Digital Academy for the past 2 years. So far, the Academy has provided training for over 6,500 decision makers to show them how they can create ICT regulations that are gender sensitive and environmentally sound. The aim of the training is to develop fair digital policies that take all people into account. I hope you enjoy a fruitful dialogue and exchange of ideas at the Transform African Summit. The only way we can bridge the gender-digital divide and make sure that no one anywhere in the world misses out on the future is by working together, because the future is not just digital, it's female too.
So I take this opportunity to thank the Honorable Minister Schultz. We truly value our work together. And now I would like to pass the floor to my co-moderator, Thelma.
Thank you very much. And before we continue, I would like for us to capture the day. Today is a very big day. If we don't capture it, nobody will know it happened. So I'd like to call on Your Excellency, Mrs. Bogdan Martin, Your Excellency, Dr. Amani, my boss and CEO, Mr. Lasina Koni, and all the honorable ministers here to please come forward for a photo session. All the ministers, please. No, just a minute before you sit. Would like to take with the girls as well. So a few of the girls, please.
The Minister of Zimbabwe, was she intervening? She was not? Why did she come? Who's this girl? Minister of State.
Please, would like to have a few of the girls, and then with the partners, GIZ, GSMA, all our partners, please come forward for another picture. Our partners, please join. Yeah, I mentioned GSMA. Angela, GIZ, representatives from BMZ, a few of the girls. Coordinates, yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause for them. Yes. Yes. Because I'm going to call, I'll call them now. So as we settle down, we'll quickly move on to the next session of our panel. We're running behind time, so we'd like to quickly complete. As Ms. Doreen had said, change is visible. And today with us, we have very distinguished women ministers to discuss a few of the topics.
It's my pleasure to welcome Her Excellency Dr. Mani, Commissioner for Infrastructure and Energy of the African Union, as our first panelist. Ms. Paula Ingabire, Minister of Information and Communication Technology and Innovation, Rwanda. Thank you, Madam Minister. His Excellency Edward Kalon, the UN Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator for Zimbabwe. Your Excellency, you're welcome on stage. And then His Excellency Felix Mutati, Minister of Science and Technology, Zambia. Please have a seat. So I would like to also call Her Excellency Mrs. Ursula Owusu-Ekufu, the Minister of Communications and Digitalization from Ghana. Madam Cecilia Miamuchwa, Director, Legal Services, Postal and Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, Zimbabwe. And then we have Dr. Rejoice Maseko, the Director of Research, Science and Technology and Innovation, Kingdom of Eswatini. Dr. Rejoice Maseko. Okay. And then finally we have Mr. Diaby Mustafa Mami, the Senior Advisor, ICT and Digital Transformation, Cabinet of the Vice President, Africa Union Commission. So we'll quickly dive in. Thank you for coming, and a very good morning to you. As has been said, change is visible, and we are very glad that you are here with us. The network of digital women ministers is supposed to help us create that visibility, but also create proper regulatory environment to be able to support the growth of girls in ICT. Welcome. Our first dialogue is going to focus on policy development and the elements that are needed to ensure women's empowerment in the ICT sector and digital policy. To start with, Her Excellency Dr. Mani, I'd like to ask from you how we can invest in...
I'd like to remind everyone that in our rural areas, for 90% of our rural areas, women and girls spend about 5 hours a day to get firewood and water to be able to cook and to have meals in the family, which means that those women and girls de facto are excluded from any other possibility of education or any other knowledge or economic activity that is conducive for them to go further. So I really am emphasizing the importance of making sure that our connectivity programs, high-speed internet, is spread across our rural areas, develop skills, but also to ensure that clean cooking is considered a top priority and a high energy issue to be dealt with soon, because without that we will continue seeing women and girls being excluded from everything that could be positive to their lives. So with that, I'm very optimistic, seeing how now I'm surrounded by all these power women, and that's what we want. We don't want just women empowerment. We also want to make sure that women are in power. And I am honored to be at the African Union, which is the only international organization in the world which, by law, has instituted that we are 50-50 women and men elected officials. And I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Thank you. In fact, our panel is very gender imbalanced because we have too many women and only one man, which is a good sign. Thank you. So I'll move on to Honorable Paula Ingabere. So Rwanda has the highest proportion of women leaders, and would like to understand how Rwanda has done this and how we can learn the steps that Rwanda took through so that we will be able to dismantle the existing norms that prevent girls from doing what Rwanda has been able to achieve.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Telman. Perhaps I'll also start by commending ITU and Doreen and the team for championing this Girls in ICT initiative. I think what we're seeing across different countries is that everyone has woken up, everyone is understanding the need to empower and be very deliberate about including young girls at a very young age. And so it's such a commendable initiative. So happy Girls in ICT Day, and you have all of us as champions on how we can make a difference in even very small ways. But coming back to your question, Telma, I think, and I think the DG of Smart Africa, Lassina, did mention it in his speech, where he mentioned that Rwanda has the highest women representation, especially in government. For cabinet, we have more than 50%. When it comes to parliament, we have over 61% of women in those positions. But also what we're starting to see is in the private sector, equally an effort to put women in decision-making roles. I'll quote particularly a statistic around the financial sector where 10 years ago, you probably would not find a single woman CEO in the financial sector. And today, I think over 60% women are leading the banks in Rwanda. And I think as the ICT sector, because we're particularly talking about technology, there's more work to be done, whether it's in the number of women entrepreneurs, startups that are led and owned by women. And so we want to also to be able to see that level of progress also happening in the tech industry that is heavily male-dominated, not just in Rwanda, but also across the world. And you ask, what have we done differently? I think one is being very deliberate about putting women at the table and making sure that their voices are heard, making sure that they are part and parcel of forming these policies, of leading the progress that we're seeing in the country. Our constitution provides for at least 30% women representation, but from the statistics I just shared, we've really even gone beyond the 30%, but a minimum is 30% in any positions of leadership. But I think Dr. Amani said it right. It's not just cutting numbers. It's also what value are women bringing at the table, because it's not enough to have 50% of women or 60% or 30%. It's what difference are they making? How are we making sure that the challenges that are unique to women and girls are being taken care of in how we design policies and programs across? And so to do that, you also have to make sure that we're being very deliberate about how we nurture leaders and girls very early on so that they can take on these responsibilities when the opportunity does get presented. And I'll very specifically talk about key things that we're doing to really go at the source of grooming young girls so that when they are taking up these responsibilities, they're very well equipped to do that. And it starts even with the education system. In Rwanda, we've already put in place what we've called it's a specialized school model. It's called the Rwanda Coding Academy. And it gets 15 to 17-year-olds, their last 3 years of secondary school is a structured and dedicated program on coding. But because we know there's always been a lack of girls that are coding, that are in these fields, we have been deliberate about making sure when we recruit and enroll them, we have a 50